We found our 4th round opponent, Be Wild Uncle. Be Will Dunk. I don't know. The card I would most like to level here is Grove Huntress or Graveborn Glutton. And I think I'm gonna go with the Huntress here. I think either one is fine. Grove Huntress is very good when leveled. So is Glutton, but Glutton and Huntress are both fine under-leveled. So, wow, a Brute in a non-side lane. This could we could punish our opponent for playing like this. There's a Spring Dryad in a side lane. It's not going to be a problem. We're just going to block this guy here and Calamity Fiend in the center. Not blocking the Spring Dryad yet because we don't have to. It's going to be a maximum of 5/5 I think next turn. And our opponent can play another card in the side lane. So if you insist on playing Brute and a creature on 1.1, I think you should play Abyssal Brute in the side lane too, because otherwise your opponent can do, well, like this, and force through damage in the center lanes. That's a big Scorch Hydra, but not too worried. So we're facing a 9/9 Scorch Hydra. Are we likely to draw something like a Spirit Cleave in the next turn? Or a Dizzyant Siphon alongside something big? I think we are. I'd be very willing to take 9 here in order to force an advantage. Dirge Banshee. And now the question is, how deep do we want to go on the threat here? I mean, we could definitely go with a Prowler here. Just to make things hard for our opponent. Prowler also carries Siphon very well, if we're allowed. Maybe that is a little bit too aggressive. I'm very fond of this place. I think it has a lot of potential and merit, playing something big like that, instead of something that your opponent can easily trade with. Yeah, I'm gonna play it, and we're gonna see what happens. I think this is a very interesting position because we are winning in 4 lanes, so might as well just present the biggest threats we can. Okay, this Scorch Hydra is starting to become a slight problem, but we are winning in 4 lanes, and our opponent sacrificed a lot of board presence to gain that Scorch Hydra. Didn't find our Spirit Cleave or any of our Siphons, unfortunately, because those would have definitely have dealt with that. What we could do now, though, is play a Spring Dryad and a Willwood Patriarch, or even a Spring Dryad and blocking the Scorch Hydra with a Death Seeker. But I don't want to spend 2 resources on the Hydra when we're in beatdown mode. To be fair, I put myself in beatdown mode with playing the Prowler here, but I just couldn't resist. There's a Crypt Slime, and what do you have for the Serath? Nothing, and the Death Seeker isn't a good, that surely isn't a good blocker for our, what do we do here? This is interesting. So do we just play the Death Seeker in front of the Scorch Hydra? I think I'd rather play a Venom Fang in front of it post-combat, I think. Because the Venom Fang kills the big part of the Crypt Slime. Then the question is Patriarch or Spring Dryad. And when we're ahead by this much, I do like Spring Dryad, but this is a hard play. If we've decided on Venom Fang post-combat in 1, we might as well just go ahead and battle. Question is now, Spring Dryad or Weirwood Patriarch. I'm going to go ahead and play Spring Dryad here. It's a better threat on its own. Unfortunately, spending a lot of resources on this Scorch Hydra, but if we didn't have any pump that turn, if we had a Siphon, I would have been very happy the last turn. Also, leveling Prowlers, when we have double Siphon, we have 1 Ursine Strength and Grove Huntress. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Okay, so what do you shrink? The Prowler, I suppose. Or the Dryad. It's either the Prowler or the Dryad. I would do the Prowler, I think. It's also losing in, yeah, okay, Prowler that reverses that trade, which is a good thing for our opponent here. Suddenly our advantage doesn't look too stellar. So how are we doing this? Are we even playing Siphon? Maybe not. So, what are our options here? We can't defeat the spirit by playing something like a Grove Huntress in front of it or Glutton Grove Huntress. And we need to block the Scorch Hydra either with the whole Grove Huntress or the Glutton. We could also Spirit Cleave it, but it's just better to block it with the Glutton and get the pump on the Spring Dryad. I do like leveling Siphon. And a Siphon on the Serath is going to make it semi-tough to deal with, so I think that is what I'm going to end up doing. And what do we block with? Grove Huntress or Graveborn Glutton? I think we like the forcing through damage here. And kill the Spirit and buff the Serath. That deals damage to our opponent's face, as well as provides the biggest threat here. But now we'll have to regroup. We didn't gain as big an advantage as I would have expected from that. From the push, but we did miss 3 of our important cards in the last turn. If we'd had any of the Spirit Leash, Siphon, it would have been that would have been great for us. Another non-side lane brute. That is gonna interesting. Okay, that is not gonna die to. What is this? I'm not a fan of our opponent's brute plays. It's just taking a bunch of damage here. Do we block the Maw? It's a 6/6. What can we block it with that's better? Zerath, of course, but past that. Dirge Banshee, of course, is good to have a target for. Okay. Yeah, Zerath and Dirge Banshee is making me willing to not block there. I think I'll just block here. -4, -4. How much does the Maw deal? -5. Because he's got one Maw left. And the -5, then we'd rather maybe block with a Grove Huntress here. I'm going to pump this guy to deal the damage immediately and make it hard for him to deal with it with a level 1. Dealing some damage and winning in 3 lanes with semi-big creatures. Banshee's going to be good against the Maw, and the Portal Shade is likely going to get a proc since we're ahead on board. This position is looking quite good for us. We'll have to see what our opponent's able to do here. Scourge Hydra. It's potentially big and dangerous. Something else dangerous that may have me change my play. If he wins the fight against the Grove Huntress or the Venom Fang. Okay, so what are you pumping? That is good. Because that's still a trade. This is a trade. And I'm just going to sport this Portal Shade here in the center. Hopefully save it with a trick next turn. Like a Calamity Fiend. That should be good enough. And Dizzy and Siphon, potentially. We could also get a Spring Dryad going. I wouldn't mind siphoning the Hydra and Calamity Fiending something. Just to get the biggest board here. Also depends on the blocks. The optimal play would be to be able to play a Spring Dryad and then Calamity Fiend killing the Scourge Hydra. So we're just going to have to see what the blocks are. Frankenbaum, that's fine. And a non-7 power creature in front of the Portal Shade is happening. Oh yeah. So we're Spring Dryading things up here. Actually, let's not kill the Scourge Hydra. Let's kill it with the card that the Portal Shade is going to spawn. We're at 49, so we're pretty safe. We are the ones who are pushing for damage. And the Spring Dryad is going to grow from the proc of the Portal Shade. Things are looking good for the home team. Oh, an Oozling. The worst, but still going to be good enough. I don't think our opponent has anything to come back from this, especially since our hand has 10 extra damage of pump. That isn't actually lethal if he blocks both. Or is it? Spring Dryad is 12. It actually is lethal. Okay. I think we got it. The 4-0 with the Menace, as everyone knows it. Should we go for Exact Seize? $18. No, let's not fool around. Huntress, Dryad. So our deck just had all tricks here. So there's the game. That's the tournament. We went 4-0. with a deck containing, well, one Spring Dryad, the Patriarch that never really did anything because our core of the deck was so strong. We had multiple Grove Huntresses, we had 2 Dizzian Siphons, that's a dream, and we had double Calamity Fiend, so a lot of tricks. Just a bunch of tricks and decently sized bodies. That's the way you fight on your own terms. So we squeaked out a win in round 1, and then we basically slammed all our opponents past that. So that's the 4-0 for you with Necrim Utera, and happy drafting until I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.